So here we have the two extremes. On the right hand side, camera opposite the heel line. Okay, and that's quite good if you want to try and see where the club shaft is actually pointing in relation to the target at the top of the backswing, and also the camera positioning straight down the target line, the one on the left hand side that we saw earlier. So the takeaway now looks outside, of course, on the right, and then when we roll the swing to the top of the backswing, we can see that the left arm looks in a fairly upright position in comparison to where the left arm looks in the picture on the left hand side now. Looks like there's more turn on the left, less on the right. Looks as though the stance is open on the right, looks as though it's closed on the left. So really important lesson learned here. You see different things from different positions. Later on we'll try and show you how we cope in a studio and in how we can get over these things, but how your eyes cannot be deceived. So the camera is lying to a point, but you have to understand where it's positioned in relation to the target and the player. As the camera gets closer to the golfer, things get much worse, as we'll show you in one or two other videos. Right, so now we're going to make things much worse as far as camera perspective is concerned. The camera here is very close to the player, so around about 2.5 to 2.75 meters away from the person swinging. You can also see we're using a wide angle lens, which gives us this barreling effect, but this is quite common in a studio. So on the right hand side we have the camera opposite the hands, and on the left hand side we have the camera opposite the target line. So we can see here a completely different look. What looks like an inside takeaway on the left hand side certainly doesn't look that way on the right hand side. So which one is right? Well, the answer is, in terms of the takeaway, the one on the right is correct, because that is where the camera is positioned. If we were to look at things closer to club swing direction and path to get a feel for that, then the camera down the line is giving us a much better visualization.
So going on from the previous video, we want to look at how we can compensate for perspective here in the studio. We've got this bar that stems across the back of the bay here. You can see the camera's positioned on the bar on a clamp, pointing down the line on this shot. If we wanted to get a good idea of playing, then ideally what we would like to do is to move this camera further down, so we can do that by loosening it off and then moving the camera down the bar. This gives us a position now where we're opposite the hands. And then finally we could in theory take the camera off and put it on this clamp here, and this is opposite the club line at the top of the backswing, or we could just slide this down the bar to the position that's required. Now that will get rid of all the perspective problems that you've seen in the previous video. It's really important to do, otherwise you're misinforming yourself about swing plane, club path, club line at the top of the backswing. So a must do for accurate readings with video in your studio.